We are red. Red is on, time being 10:50, excuse me, 4:50. 10 to 5.
Today is Thursday, December 21st, year 2017. Time is
4:50?
4:52. Oh, did I say, yeah, I'm looking at the fives, 4:52. Let this meeting of the Tilton Board of Selectmen now come to order. Please let the record show that John Scanlon will not be joining us this evening.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
You said abbreviation.
All in favor? Let us stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have a finance report.
He said he's working on it.
Okay.
We have minutes.
Let's do town administrator.
You want to do your minutes?
Or you said minutes, I guess.
Catherine, you want to do your minutes?
So just minutes.
I'm just quickly putting my stuff all in order so that I can
Okay.
go
Tim's
quickly.
finishing
What
up
do we
his
got,
stuff.
November 30th? Let's do minutes.
I was asked.
Which we do on the 30th?
Yes, please. Joyce, are we going to go forward with those committee attendance sheets?
Go forward with, with the stipend policy, you mean? Yes, yes, that's in my to-do things right here. I don't have anything yet to present
That's
to the
okay.
board.
We got another year to go.
This again, I'm gonna narrow down to this.
Did we make a decision on plowing Salmon Run?
No, you haven't made a decision, but they've asked if you could hold off a year.
They don't want us to plow it.
Right. It is closed off now. Yeah.
Okay, so we should make that decision and
Officially make that decision,
let
yeah.
Public Works know.
Right.
When I called the guy from DES to come out and visit the site, he says, oh, I'm very familiar with the site. He says, I was there at your grand opening. I went, oh. So- And he felt that we could work something out.
Oh, good. Somebody have any correction, changes, modifications, anything? To minutes of November 30th? Motion to accept the minutes of November 30th, 2017 is written.
Second.
All those in favor, discussion. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposition, abstention, motion carries. Okay, minutes of December 7th, please. The last sentence on the first page under E911. Renumber the area on Laconia Road. We also asked them to do Main Street.
Okay.
Isn't that the next
That's the next paragraph?
paragraph?
Yeah, but you don't really need the next paragraph, do we? I thought it would be better if we included it, but it was the consensus of the board to have to renumber the area on Laconia Road. That's not what it says down there.
And Main Street? Due to the same.
Regards to Main Street, although it may be a hardship for the business owners due to the safety issues involved, corrected numbers will be designated and they must comply with the ordinance. It just sounds so harsh. So I just think if we just include it up there and leave out that paragraph.
Okay. So renumber
That's just
the
my
area on
opinion.
Well,
Laconia
some will
Road.
consider it harsh whether it's there or not.
I know, but Laconia Road's the same way, so if we're gonna include the language, it should cover both Laconia Road and Main Street, not like, sounds like we're picking on Main Street.
Gotcha.
Well, in a way you are, because they've been numbered and all, and
How's it?
how's that numbered then?
I think they all
Is it
have,
We all have a number.
A certain
Yeah.
number, like
One
70 Laconia Road,
they're gonna
unit
have
1,
to
2,
renumber
3.
too.
As long as they've got the unit numbers in plain view, doesn't matter.
Yes. They have to have all separate numbers. They can't
What's
have
the
this,
difference between unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, and going down the street 1, 2, 3? They're still numbers.
so I'm 416 Laconia Road, if I had different buildings that needed numbers, they couldn't all be 416 Laconia Road. They'd have to be
When they're all up the
416
same private road, to me, it would make sense. That tells them, okay, this is my access
Right.
in.
So if they'd all been 416, let's say I had 4, and they were all 416 Laconia Road, they would be changed to 416 Suite 1, or 416A, or B. It would still be an address change.
Oh, you can't be unit 1, you have to be suite 1 or apartment A?
Even if they added Unit 1 to it, it's an address change.
Okay.
So if I'm a business,
Well, to me, if you, like where the diner, Evans, all of that is, if you're not naming that access road, I would put them all the same number with different units so they all know, here's the turn in.
that's right. So that still represents an address change. As a business,
So right now, they're just 70 Laconia Road and the mail knows which one goes where.
evidently. According to what John said, I think that's correct. Joyce, were you able to get landscape estimates and for installation for that accident?
Yes, I spoke twice with Belknap Landscaping, and I hadn't heard from him, so I got back to him, and he left me a voicemail message, and he said he wouldn't be able to give me an estimate because of the snow. He hasn't been able to get out there, and he wouldn't really be able to tell with the snow. So I went ahead and had Primex go for subrogation for at least the materials and the, but not the labor. And I think that letter's in your, to be signed, and it would also include the deductible. So right now, it's just the labor.
Okay.
Big bag.
Do you have any changes or corrections to the minutes of December 7th? Motion to accept the minutes of December 7th, 2017 as written.
Second.
Discussion.
With that one correction?
Pardon?
With that one correction?
As amended.
As amended.
Second.
Well, that's right, I made it too. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, oppositions, motion carries, thank you. Finance. Any other?
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. Budget.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll direct your attention to my report, and the first item being the 2018 budget. Last night, the Budget Committee met and at the Police Department reviewed the Police Department budget in great detail, asked a lot of questions, and in the end approved the Selectmen's recommended amount of $2,097,186. They're not meeting next week, but
Thought they were going to,
no, they decided to take next week off,
oh,
so they'll be meeting in January, starting back up in January. The only, in the budget that I handed out, really the only change you're going to see in here is on the right-hand side on the front page. You'll see where the Budget Committee approved items start coming in. And the reason why I haven't included the dollars or change versus 2017 in the Culture and Recreation and outside agencies is that they haven't completed those sections. So to show the difference, it would look as though they took out money when they haven't necessarily. They haven't decided on certain lines.
The front cover doesn't show the budget committee approved.
It does.
The front?
Yes. Mhm. For the police department.
BC change, okay,
Yep.
got it.
So the only one that's been completed is the police department. The other two, Culture and Recreation outside agencies, if those were complete, then you'd also see the change in dollars and percentage change. The only other item was that today we received the Sewer Commission budget, but I haven't had a chance to update the cover here to reflect the pass-through, but again, the expense and the revenue are the same, so it's just a pass-through. But that'll be in your next report. The most notable thing here on this report is, although it doesn't look it by the one maybe the expenses didn't update, they should have updated. But in any event, that's the budget document you have in front of you. And then in terms of the end-of-year status, so I had hoped to have some firm numbers tonight from our surveillance supplier, Mango Security, who we've used in the past, has all the equipment at Riverfront Park and who we want to standardize on. We have some of their equipment here at Town Hall, and we want to finish replacing out the existing system we have here with their system as well as at the PD. So I don't have any new figures on those, but if you go to the second and third and fourth pages of my report, and I apologize for the rough drawn floor plan, but we have discussed internally the location of cameras. I've asked for a pricing on replacement of all the existing analog cameras and a new network video recorder. And the only item here between the first and second floor that's really undetermined as yet is at the ramp door, having a camera at the proper height, rather than having a whole separate system to buzz somebody in. If that's done at some point, this camera would be low enough to really capture someone's face coming in the door, and that it would be part of our surveillance system, so that you could have one of the windows would show who's approaching the door.
If you're running close on cameras for that one, couldn't we just get one of the Ring doorbell systems that you buzz in also?
It could, yeah, it could.
But
Yep.
who would you not buzz in?
Well, it's not for me to say. I'm just.
If you had a buzzer at the door, who would you not buzz in?
It depends if it's after hours or
Yeah.
not. You could say, I'm sorry, we're closed.
Right.
That
Well, then
kind
the
of
door
thing.
is locked.
But if they buzz you and see you when you're sitting in your seat, like
No,
Joyce
it's not.
works very late, you work very late. If they see you working there and they buzz you,
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Well, I've had where people banged on the door,
right.
and
Well, and
Then
if
you'd have to have
if you
an
only have
intercom,
the
because you're
tax
still gonna
collector
get up
and
to tell them
assistant
why you're
come
not
in the back
letting
door,
them in.
they come in by surprise, sort of, unless you hear the door close.
that's true.
And for you, if they come in the front and they're busy doing stuff, you don't see them.
Right. I can tell you that Saturday there were 3 different town administrators here, and one from Thornton, one from Milton, and then, of course, our own town administrator. And the only town that doesn't have their side door secured with a buzzer was us. So,
Out of 3.
out of those 3. But you also heard John talk about last week, I believe it was Gilmanton and Alton also had the same type of
Who would
doors.
you not let in?
Well, I
You're
think,
gonna have people standing out in the rain, and how would
well,
you're
more-
gonna say this person is uglier than that person, I'm not letting him in?
No, I
I don't
think-
like the way you're dressed?
I think it has more to do with controlling the flow, so
You're not
that you're directing people, through a particular flow. I think it has as much to do with that as anything, but any of that. So I have,
Yeah, I do too.
so I've listed out on both floors, the N circles refer to new cameras, the E to existing, if you can read that, and M refer to existing Mango cameras, which are exterior to the building and are high resolution currently. So that kind of, I'm hoping that next week I'll have some firm numbers, because it would be nice to be able to get that project moving.
That's a lot of cameras.
It is. I think it's a total of 14.
Why do we?
Well, the existing cameras are already in place.
Yeah.
What they do is they pick up the hallways, they pick up the counter areas, they pick up the entrances and egresses of the building. So
So 2 for upstairs?
2 for upstairs. One would be up on this wall facing out, and the other would be back behind the camera on the wall. A very wide angle view capturing basically the audience here and the board table and anyone going through that door.
Is it going to be enough so that you could identify somebody, let's say somebody broke in at night? Would that camera really be able to zoom in and identify somebody?
It'd be more difficult from these two cameras because they would be the most, this way to put it, well, let me put it this way, all the other cameras are much tighter fields of vision. These are
Right.
much wider. So if you really wanted to ensure something like that, maybe it would require one more camera,
Then what
somewhere.
would the purpose of having such a wide field of vision?
Because it's such a big room, trying to cut down on the number of cameras, and then also
What are you capturing, just people?
capturing from, right, so in other words, if there's an altercation, you would see the altercation. You can blow it up to some degree, but you may not see their facial their,
Yeah, so if you couldn't
like a
identify
nose ring or
them,
something.
then what good is it do?
Oh, no, you could,
I'm only talking about experience in the park. We've had a couple incidents where the camera wasn't good enough to identify the individual. So the camera did us no good. You can watch the action.
well, in
but
some
what good does it do?
cases, they never turned the right way. In other words, the cameras were there, they just didn't happen to, turn around at the right time.
Right, so
You know,
if you
so-
have one so far away that it's not going to identify somebody, what good's it do?
Well, because they would have to have passed by other cameras to get up here, so you would, more than likely, you would have
Getting the store
captured.
down
So,
here.
so talking about it in a public session, so the wheres and whys and the pros and the cons, would give everybody the indication of where our
All you have to do is walk in and
where
look.
our
Weaknesses.
weaknesses are and where our strong points are. And if somebody really wanted to do something, all they have to do is watch our tapes.
Yep, so if they broke in down there, they wouldn't come through any camera.
Not unless they came through that door.
Then they'd get the wild field.
They would
Wide
get
field of vision
the
camera.
camera that's back here,
And
right?
is that going to identify them?
As much as,
Yes.
if you're talking about like a passport photo, no. But if you're talking about, a picture from here to the wall, looking at someone, yeah. They're really very good cameras. And you can select the area that you want to blow up. And because they're high resolution, they will, you can go
Okay.
into it without having it too
As long as
pixelated.
it's not, I just don't, the main purpose is if somebody
But-
broke in, I want to be able to know who it is.
All right, so, well, there are a couple of options there too. One is we could put a camera in the back hallway, or stairwell, or somewhere that would capture any kind of entrance or egress out of that.
Have we
sewer
had
door.
any crime here?
There have been occasions where we've had to, there've usually been altercations or issues between people. I can't say, there may have been theft at some point.
When I was first a selectman, they were pretty certain that somebody had come into town hall. But we felt it was somebody with an old key and the locks were changed, but,
So there's really not been any crime?
well,
Other than, he said, she said, kind of altercations,
depends on what you're
So like
describing as.
verbal disputes?
or hands-on.
Yeah, it depends what you just describe calling crime.
But assault.
Well, there's been threatening.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's a
they've been
crime.
threatening, very threatening things, yep.
And there've been times where we've had to
Call the
forcefully have
police.
people leave
Yep.
and call the police
And
to help have people
Would
leave.
cameras prevent that?
They would support what happened, much like body cameras.
But
Deter,
that's not,
well,
No, it's-
some people
I
will
mean-
think twice if they know they're gonna be videotaped.
That's
but they're
right.
being videotaped now, aren't they?
Not up here. Not in
But
this
there's
room.
really no crime going on.
I would say
Well, we
assault.
had to get a panic button up here because of a situation a few
Mhm.
years back
Mhm.
with a resident.
And there were threats made.
Yep.
So,
And
I guess a
and
few
near fist
instances
fights,
don't, to me, justify spending a lot of money on
the
all
second
these
floor.
cameras.
Well, the purpose for, the majority of the cost is to standardize and go to IP cameras. So they give much higher resolution downstairs. Today, it's okay, they're not great, they're lower resolution. So it would be much more difficult to identify somebody with our existing cameras. Not impossible, it depends
But it would
on,
be difficult with the ones we're getting as well, you said.
I'm thinking primarily of up here. Downstairs, we have very good coverage camera-wise.
But out of the crime that's gone on, do you think somebody that isn't local or that we would know would be doing this? Or it sounds like people that are having arguments and disputes and people that are known?
It starts out unknown, but after that, they're usually known. But land use is probably one of the highest risk areas because it deals with people's property. And if you look across the country, it's usually something to do with, you can't tell me what to do with my property. And that's generally where things have escalated to a dangerous or deadly point. Is that not correct, Joyce?
That's very correct. In fact, the ones where we've had deadly incidents have been based on zoning and land use issues.
Deadly, someone's died.
Not here.
Not in Tilton,
Had
but-
been shot. One died in Newbury, right?
Taxes and
The other
land
was
use.
up in Colebrook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colbert.
That's when everybody got panic buttons.
Yeah, that was in the
Yeah.
town hall,
Yeah.
the town hall there, yeah. So in any event, the diagrams are for your, thinking and discussion. The ramp door, again, whether it's secure or not. But as far as tonight goes, I don't have any information as to, the costs, firm costs on those things. What I would like to go into, the same thing for the PD. Unfortunately, I don't have a quote tonight. And again, just to remind you, with the PD, I was looking to spend about half of what it would cost to do the entire PD, to change out the system there, which is not performing well and is going to require more money to be spent on it, and probably won't perform any better than it's performing now. And these are really consumer systems that were installed that really should have been more, not high enterprise, but more professional systems. And they've, the one at the PD did pretty well for a while, but for the last year it's been very problematic, and they get a lot of requests for discovery, and it's very difficult to get the video and audio off of there. They're able to, but it takes an inordinate amount of time.
Are you
and effort.
proposing that any of the cameras in town hall, especially downstairs, are infrared?
There would be some infrared, so that it would pick up better at night as well. Yeah. So in any event, so I will, if I have that next week, I will bring it to you. If not, I would like to just go over items A and B, which I'll start with B, which is new. Our mapping service. So for our maps downstairs, in discussions with our planner and town administrator, we've been using the same fellow for doing our maps for about at least since 2012, I believe, and possibly before that. And we've had to pay for every little thing. So we pay a certain amount per year, then we've had to pay to even get PDF files that we could take, print out and take and have laminated. We had to pay for getting electronic versions of different things. He does not like to do things other than on his timetable and once a year. And what we'd like to do is to migrate to to Avatar for the mapping, with the following reason: because the files that we have that we've gotten from this person, they're adequate on paper, but when you try to put them into a digital format to overlay with photographs of, aerial photographs and things like that, very little lines up for parcel information. So when sewer is overlaying sewer lines on parcels, or we're looking at where poles are, or water lines, or things like that, the parcel information is the least reliable of those. And so
They're incorrect, a lot of them.
they're incorrect. That's another way to put it. So unreliable, incorrect. It's just the fact that the fellow that's been doing this for us has just not been. He has not kept pace with the times, I think, is just the easiest way to put it. So this would be an annual cost of $1,250. We have money to do the laminating over and above that. So what we would look to do is to commence this immediately, and Avatar will do any updates that we need anytime during the year. Corrections during the year. We won't have to wait. And they'll provide us the electronic formats without additional cost, so that we can get a PDF from them without having to pay for the PDF of the map, and then we can take that to Staples and have it printed, 2x3 and laminated.
So if we do this, who's going to sit down and make the corrections before it goes?
So my thinking is this would be the planner's responsibility.
The planner would, whenever there's a boundary line adjustment or a subdivision, or if information comes to our attention that we need to change something, that plat and that information would go to the mapper.
I'm talking about the current information, our current book down there is incorrect.
Our tax maps.
Yes.
Yes, some of the pages are incorrect, haven't been
Well,
updated.
There's a lot more than just page numbers
Well,
incorrect.
This is why he wants to switch, because he would be the one to lead, this effort to get these things corrected, make sure that it's accurate. That's what he's wanting to do.
And how long is that going to take? I mean, before we actually, shouldn't we be fixing them first and then switch next year? Or are you saying switch now and then fix them? I don't get it.
No, by switching, they will start working on our data. They're going to be doing a lot of work up front for this annual fee. This is what they would charge on a regular basis, but they'll be doing a lot of extra work up front.
We have a lot of parcels that don't have meets and bounds. I mean, there's parcels that are showing on our map that have never been surveyed. So it's not the mapper's fault, it's the fact that there just isn't that information. As you have survey plans and subdivision plans and recorded plans, or like when we hire like Dave Krause, he comes in, he does all the research and says this is what it's supposed to look like. That's what gets added to the map.
We have names in there that are incorrect.
Names in our assessing base?
In the maps downstairs, in our maps. So was Windy Hill Brook? That comes
Oh,
from
yes,
Lancaster
yes,
Road
those,
is
yes,
incorrect. That should
yes.
be Bamford Brook. The name was changed years ago.
Yes.
So, and
by the legislative body.
Those would be things that would have to be generated from the land use office.
So that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Are those maps going to be looked at right now, regardless of subdivision and whatnots, that automatically change them? Are they going to be looked at for mistakes?
Yes, Abdari keeps a list. He has a list of things that need to be corrected and
Okay.
things
How
like
would
that
he
come up.
know that that brook was changed, the name was changed years ago? And looking at, if he picked up a tax map right now and looked at it, he'd looked at it and say, oh, here's the brook, and it's named a brook. How would he know that that brook was changed
Well,
years
because
ago?
He looks at other resources, other things.
So
besides
he's
just
gonna
our
look
tax
at a
map.
brook, and he's gonna look and research that brook as well as,
No, if that's
everything
something
else?
that you're aware of, you should tell him, and then he can change it.
so he's relying on other people's information as
As the
well.
information comes.
as much information as he can get. The thing
So,
is,
It's not gonna be perfect.
no,
It'll
but
never be perfect.
But
but
it sounds
but
like
you have to start with.
if we send them out, it sounds like if we find a mistake,
Correct. They will
they
correct
will
it.
correct it
That's
for
correct.
no additional cost.
And it will be much
right.
easier to correct.
But
I like the no
but-
additional cost.
But we will be printing out the corrected tax map,
Yeah.
not them. They
Yeah,
don't
we won't
produce them.
Yes.
They will give us what we need to print it and have it laminated. So that'd be our only incremental cost.
So we would be making those corrections.
No. In other words, they will make whatever corrections are necessary during the year as we find them, or other changes as we find them. We don't have to wait, kind of where we are now, it's once a year with
Once
this
a year
other
we do it.
Yeah.
person.
So my question
So,
is,
but they will provide us back what we need to take to Staples to have printed and laminated.
the original, so the information maps that they have that they make the changes on, do we have access to those so that we can also make changes? Or did they keep ownership of that? Do you see what I'm saying?
I
We
do.
have to, if we find, we find,
No,
a body of water, whatever, a street is incorrectly named, can we make that change?
No.
Or do we have to rely on them?
no, we want to rely on them, because
Okay,
that's what we're
but-
paying them to do.
And then they send us the file so that we can get it printed out and
That's right.
laminated.
But wouldn't it be nice if we could also do that? Because that would be immediate.
Well,
Eventually.
and there is an
Have
option.
ownership of that.
So there is an option, but it is a much pricier option to get to that down
So
the
they
road. But
make-
that's the plan, is
So
to go to full shape files.
so if we decide in the future not to continue this, then we have to go to another choice because we don't have access to that. They retain ownership.
No, I don't believe, no, they don't retain ownership of the files. They
why wouldn't we have
retain
access?
custody.
Then why wouldn't we have access to make our changes if we so choose?
Because they're the ones making it with their program, it's
That's
their
right.
program, not
That's
us.
okay, I know, that's what I'm trying to get. The point across is, they'll have us over a barrel, just as a lot of them do. If we quit with them,
Mhm.
then we're gonna have to go to another company to make those changes, because we're not gonna get
When you
that.
quit, you're gonna have your files
buying
current.
that
You would have,
capability.
you would have exactly.
Yeah,
Peter
we're not
said.
buying that capability.
Right.
they're
This-
gonna-
You'd rather pay more and do it yourself.
But then it lasts and you can.
I don't know.
Your-
I gotta see cost.
When I'm buying a program, I kinda like to buy the program.
Well, we're buying,
So
what
we're
we're buying
buying
is the
service.
service, right, which is what we have now. So we're saying that this is $750 more per year than what we have, but this gives us, corrections
More
throughout the year, more versatility, and so what we're proposing is to pay for this now in 2017, with 2017 monies that we've already raised and appropriated, and then we would put this into the budget cycle for 2018.
Have other programs done that?
Well, no, and the reason is that this will also be available through the Avatar tab in assessing, so that's what we'll get to. So we want to have the integration with Avatar assessing with these maps, so that we have the highest accuracy possible. So, I mean, there are other ones out there I know Darley's talked to from time to time, but this is what he really wanted to go to for the integration.
To prevent addiction.
I have a real problem with that one.
So it's better than what we have now,
Yes,
not perfect. Okay.
and it takes us on a path to if you will, full ownership of that down the road. But it's just much more expensive to go that route.
So, them correcting our information once a month or any time we notice something's wrong.
It's not once a month, it's when we find, when we have changes that the planner sends to them, they will update the maps. And then it wouldn't be cost effective for us to print out maps every single day, but, so we might consolidate a certain number of changes before presenting that.
Oh, sure. But the case is, they will make
But-
it whenever we,
Based on the $1,250, that it's a service fee for the year, any changes, any corrections.
Are you locked in for the year?
Yes.
Every
Yes.
year you have to?
Well, the reason for locking us in for this coming year would be so that we could use 2017 money to pay for it. So we'd be paying for the entire year.
So in the future, do you have to like renew annually?
Typically, that's the way Avatar does it. Typically, all their other licenses, that's the way they do it.
So if we wanted to stop, we wouldn't get redundant?
You
Well,
just finish
no.
our contract.
What I would recommend, if we had occasion that we wanted to stop at, say, mid-year, we would just contract for 6 months.
But we wouldn't want to know, we wouldn't know that. If we wanted to stop, we wouldn't.
Well, that's why you just work out the contract.
Mhm.
And as
Work
you're
out the
negotiating, you let the new vendor know,
You plan ahead, and then, right.
this would be the
Can they
anticipated
give us a
step.
trial?
The upfront work that they would have to do, I mean, we could always ask, but I think it would probably be unlikely because they do this for other towns. Their ability to do it is not in doubt from a planner's perspective. But I mean, part of the cost of this is that they've got to take everything and get it into their system. And that's going to be a lot of upfront work for them.
Can we just take another question on the side here, because we're trying to make a decision on the avatar mapping, and you're going down A, B, C, D, whatever. Do you have specific items for end of year? Joyce has specific items for end of year because we've asked her for quotes for specific items for end of year. Highway has specific items. Is there somehow we can get them all on one page? Because I know we specifically asked if Dari could give a presentation on the iWork host case management system, and I don't see him anywhere near tonight. So I would be in favor of this avatar mapping, so on and so forth, but I want to see what other things that we've got that you're going to come in with next week and say, oh, and by the way, next week is the last week of the year,
That
so
is, right.
we have to make a decision that night in order to
Right.
do everything, and that's not really fair to us.
No, and from my vantage point, I'm from my finance standpoint, in my prioritization, I took out the mower because of the discussion last week. I discussed it with the Public Works Director, and we decided just to remove that request
That was
because it
good to
was,
know, right?
well, that's why it's not here. And the surveillance systems regarding security,
Mhm.
and it was highly, the ramp door was recommended by the Joint Loss Committee for the town. So, these were things employees thought were very important to have. So that's why, these appear on mine. As far as the carpet and tile go, I did hear the discussion last week, but
Do we know what the price is for the ramp door?
no, and that's what I said, that I've attempted to get pricing, but I haven't been able to get it as yet. I've discussed, how it would work. I've talked to other towns about what they have, but outside of that, I don't have anything concrete,
So these are the only things that we're considering outside of carpeting downstairs for the end of the year purchases, am I correct? Or no?
And if I may remind you, there was discussion at one point about the evidence module for the police department, and I discussed that with the chief, and he was in agreement that we would not bring that forward because we didn't feel as though the time was right to make use of that software, and the board
Okay, so that's
equally.
off.
So that was off.
So we have 4 fire items here, correct?
Well, really,
I have my list here.
You have a whole list?
Well, no, I just, what I was concentrating on, the
Can
end
you
of this.
come up? So, because I can't hear you from over there. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, that's all right. No, I had.
I'd really
I had
like to
support.
see a whole picture before we look at
Yes, no, what we
individual.
had brought up initially was, first of all, the office relocation,
Correct.
okay?
Yep.
And then the next was the cameras.
was the second thing. And then the third thing is replacing the existing sewer door with a window in that, because
Sewer door.
the down here, this door coming
Our
upstairs.
door.
Oh,
The stairway door.
The stairway
like
doors.
a sewer door.
I'm
I was
sorry,
gonna
the
say, she
stairway
has no door. She
Yeah,
has a half wall.
We get it.
Okay, no, we went over this at our staff meeting yesterday. I told the staff that right now, we've cut, from time to time, we bring up to the board how we would like to secure both entry points into the building, and we could never really seem to agree on what would be the best thing to do. So in the meantime, we'll go with making sure people have egress, 2 means of egress out of their offices, and then putting in the cameras, and then having a written emergency action plan on it when different things happen, where we go, what do we do? Because the rule now is you don't hide, you don't stay in place anymore, you get out.
All right, so you've got the
So
office
those-
relocation, the
Cameras,
cameras.
and then the other safety item that came up, and this comes up repeatedly, is replacing the door to come upstairs, because people will come down and whammo, there'll be people standing there and they don't know that the door's
Well, that's the sewer door / stairway door.
Yeah.
Okay.
The door to
The
upstairs.
door for upstairs. So those 3 things we felt were the most important right now for safety.
Did you get a quote on the carpet like we asked you to?
Yes, he's going to give me a revised quote. He's just going to update it. And you all have copies of the 2012 one. He'll have that for me next Wednesday. And in the meantime, I reconfirmed with him that they don't do any of the moving. I can see staff and town public works department people moving some things, but when it comes to the safes and the fireproof file cabinets, we really should have some professionals come in with equipment that know how to move those things, because what you would save in not having workers' comp claims, it'd be worth paying
Well,
the heavy stuff.
if you got the weather, they'd have to stop in the middle of it. Public Works.
True, but we don't know exactly when this is going to be scheduled, when this works. It
Well,
should be done.
Usually no excavator, just
spring.
grab the safe and pull it out.
No, it should be done in the spring, because the adhesives that they use can be very irritating. So we would want to be able to have doors and windows.
We
and
may
things
have to
open.
close town hall for the day.
Oh, it'd be more than a day.
Like a Friday and.
Well, we have,
Yeah, he was
working a Friday and a Saturday, you're closing Friday.
Yeah, and they had also
But
talked
that's way out.
about too, is like a lot of the things, like we could
Hardwood
move.
floors.
The problem's going to be the town clerk tax collector's office, to try and keep them open, so we can go around and do everything else. What? They'll have to close.
Yeah.
Well, what
We don't
can-
need to talk about that now, but
Okay.
I understand your point, Joyce.
What concerns me about the carpet and tile is the cost, and whether we would have enough to do, because that's a pretty big ticket item.
What do
And
you
if we
think of
don't-
camera and everything? A rough kind of thing, the cameras thing that you're proposing here for town hall
Well,
and PD. What do you, an
Well,
estimate?
approaching probably what the carpet would
I don't
cost.
see where the 2012 carpet is here. I can't even see that. So like,
Well, I believe it was,
Put it on
I believe it was like
Yeah.
20,000.
This is all
1935.
2017 monies
Yes.
that we haven't budgeted for.
Right.
Well,
And if,
primarily
Okay, got it.
remaining because
whether
of
we use
personnel.
2017 money or we change our budget and add this to it.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
I feel like I want a budget for everything. I feel like we've told every department head, like, don't come here last minute looking for money, and it's like town hall's the one doing it. And I don't feel like it's fair to the other department heads who listened and didn't make requests. I don't think any of these things are emergent.
It's our budget. This is the selectmen's budget.
Yeah.
It's not the department head's budget.
No, but I'm saying they are trying to spend money with like 2 weeks left in the year.
but if you look at it this way, Ashley, if you're going to spend $3,000, which will be added to the appropriations next year, it's $3,000 or $20,000 that's taken off the budget next year, which would essentially be tax money that
So-
goes for your taxes. This year, we hadn't spent that money, it would be much more beneficial to come out of this year's money than put it on to next year, but we need to be careful about it needs to be something, not something that, my opinion, not something that we just go and spend, it's something that we would be putting in the budget the following year.
Yeah, the only reason for suggesting the surveillance changes is, we're getting by, but it was requested by the board to get cameras up here. So I was responding to that request, to have this surveilled up here, and in the process, what was told to me was everyone has to be able to see all these different cameras. Well, it doesn't make sense to expand a substandard system upstairs. It would only make sense to, put in the newer cameras that we have exterior to the building currently, and then continue to build that system. So whether it's in pieces and just start small now, or whether we replace the whole thing, I just don't know because I don't have the figures for it. But the idea is, I don't like to budget things that, I'll give you an example. For servers we would budget in advance because we're going to have to replace those servers. They have a certain life to them. This was something that came up out of the safety of the buildings, was asked of me, so that's why I prepared
And
Oh,
this
so
for
I
town
just feel
hall.
like we should prioritize, because I don't think I would budget for all these things for 2018.
Well, and
I
if-
would say,
and
do we
if-
need to do it all next year?
And if I may also just explain with the PD camera system, the EMPG program, we thought we were going to be able to make use of the grant funds from that to pay for the surveillance system there. But then when that fell through, in talking with them and finding out, well, what could we do to get 50% match, the answer was, well, you'd have to be putting in types of things. So if you're putting in surveillance equipment, you can qualify for the 50% match. So that I put in my
That
prior
benefits us.
reports. So that's why, that wasn't budgeted ahead of time, because both of those things came in within, I'd say, the last, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
So,
I understand that. I
Yeah.
just would prefer to prioritize the needs, and I don't like making snap decisions. I know Dari's reached out to me to see this program. I've worked literally every day, so I haven't been able to. If he can't come to the meeting and show what it is, I can't back it. And I thought he was going to be here tonight to do that. I thought we had discussed that.
He's going to be here next Thursday night.
If I could just interject, on these safety issues with the town hall, we've been talking about these for years, and we realize we can't get the primo. So what we backed it down to, as I said, was, making some relocation, which will just it will improve our work environment. We won't be crashing into one another. We'll feel more comfortable and safer working in the building. Safety's a real concern. Not so much, I'm not that afraid, but there's other employees here that are very...
With the camera system, is that what you're talking
Well, having the camera system and just so we have a way to get out and having a plan.
So
This
a
has
plan
been talked about for
A
years.
plan will actually be safe and will prevent somebody from being hurt. A camera won't.
Camera will help us for liability
yeah.
issues.
Well, I've been
We have
here,
cameras.
I've been here late at night, and people have rapped on the door, and I've gone, they see me working in my office, it's not like I can ignore them, and
Yeah.
one night it was dark and rainy and
Yeah.
somebody dropping off some clothes.
Yeah.
Another time it was somebody thinking they had a meeting here that night and
Yeah.
things like that.
I'm not saying it's not ideal. I would just prefer to do what we need right now.
This
And-
carpet issue, the whole carpet issue we brought up,
Every year I've been here too.
2012.
2012 was, we brought it up actually in 2010.
I was going to say, yeah.
The first year I was a selectman, 2009, we thought about it, and then we actually went out and asked for it, and then we asked for it again, another estimate for 2012, and that was the latest one. We've been talking about it every year
So
since
why
then.
haven't we budgeted for it?
Because we did one year, and then something came up, and we had to use that money for something more prioritizing. It was much more urgent than that, and we didn't do it. And then to put in 19,000 is a lot of money.
It could be a
And
warrant
that was
article.
2012.
I mean,
Right, I would feel more
It's not
comfortable
going to
doing
be a
that.
warrant article.
I mean,
This
it's like,
just
do you want the
doesn't even make
carpets,
sense.
do you want the cameras? I wouldn't, and then the computer, like, so I guess I have to decide next week would be the last chance after the presentation to decide about the
Yep.
computer system.
Yeah, I think that now that I have a whole picture of what you're gonna ask for, and I have in my mind what, I'm, personally, I'm all for the case management because it's gonna benefit land use, the health officer, many departments, they're gonna interact with that. I do understand the avatar mapping a little bit.
Yep.
And the cameras, the doors and everything, I'm all over that because that is safety, but we need to do something if you're gonna have two egresses to that office there, at least open up a little bit there.
And I did talk with Johanna about that.
Yeah, just for safety
She wants to make
reasons.
sure that people
They have it out,
don't get in there.
get back in, right?
Yeah,
Just
and
make
she-
it a one-way only.
Yeah.
Just make it a one-way out.
Well, she can configure it in such a way that when she leaves every
Right.
day, she can push something
Push
into the
something in
opening.
there, right?
Yeah.
But the
So-
camera, I'm not sure about the placement of them. I know we need updates of them because I know how crucial that is in PD work and the,
well, and it may be a moot point if we can't get, the quotes. So, just about every contractor out there is just flat out.
But you're, the camera, you're only looking at adding a couple new ones anyway, so if we didn't do anything, we're cameraed downstairs and everybody that comes into the building
That's correct.
is captured
Mhm.
before they come up here.
Like I said, I was responding to the request.
Yeah,
right,
so
One other thing.
we're not gonna vote tonight on these things, we're missing John, and he was very vocal on some of these topics, so it would be, I think, unfair to vote without him.
Yeah.
Next week,
Yeah.
you will come
Yeah.
with prices for
Prices,
everything,
everything.
Hopefully.
cameras,
Hopefully we'll have.
everything.
One thing that I'm hoping will be included in our regular town hall maintenance and repair budget, because we budget enough, it's what, 7,000, 8,000 a year just for the regular maintenance items that we have to do. And then the rest is to make repairs. It always ends up getting spent on something else. But one was I got the estimate that the invoice that we had when we had the doors done 2 years ago. I want that to be done again in 2018.
Well, Public
So-
Works is supposed to maintain those stores.
That alone was over $4,000 to maintain those doors.
yeah.
We didn't have to maintain them,
They're
they
going to
came
do
in
that.
and restrict them,
But they
and
need,
refinished them.
they need to know the process.
I thought we already talked about that. We didn't get information on it?
No, we have the stain, they gave us the stain.
But there's a
But
process
they
to
don't know
do
how
it.
to do it.
Yeah,
Well,
if you
let's
just
find
try
out.
Move the doors.
Reach out?
if you reach out to him and he will explain the process again
Okay,
in which to do it, because it's a real simple process if you keep it up every year.
okay.
Then you don't have to have it stripped down and redone for $4,000.
Yeah, and then the other is to update the lighting, some of the lighting fixtures, but that won't be that much. What's expensive is installing brand new ones.
The only other question I know that
That
we've
we could
asked
do
in
in
the
the budget.
past, IT director, is a round mic system over there so that we can hear them talk to us when they have their hand up in the question.
I mean, another microphone.
Well, not necessarily a mic, but one of those round table ones, things there, that they can just speak in, just one instead of just 3 mics. Because the chief sits over there, the town administrator, or you, town administrator, and Gail.
Is this for budget?
No, over there.
Well, why do we have Joyce over here, so why do we need to extend the speaker system up to over
So
there?
if we ask a question for the chief and he's sitting over there,
That he should come over here,
well, we had to remind ourselves
So
to
he's
make
on
sure that that
camera.
happens.
yeah.
Well, we do have a microphone we could use over there that has an on and off on it.
I'm just
So
saying
I
that
could-
people that are speaking, that are adding to this meeting, should be on camera. That's just my feeling.
If I may,
Right about that.
if I may, years ago, I had hoped that we would have a podium within camera view with a fixed microphone on it. And if someone was addressing the Board of Selectmen, they would go to the podium and they would speak and identify themselves and speak, and then, sit down. And that way, because they're going to the podium, you can make sure that the camera, it's within the field of vision of the camera, so you're not hearing someone speak from the audience, just sort of out loud, and you know who's speaking, you can identify them and that sort of thing, so. And at that point, podiums were, I think, it was about $250 for a podium, and then putting a mic on it, which they're fixed stands, for these types of mics on there. I think I would need one more of these, but that can be done within my existing budget if you so choose. But
All right,
in any event, if I may say,
For next week,
if for some reason we don't have those surveillance systems, the pricing for next week, and it is something that the board makes a priority, it can always go into a warrant article and present it at a town meeting.
it should go into the budget. Those types of warrant articles are never understood in the legislative body. They don't understand the needs of town hall. We've discussed some of that in non-public.
Right.
So are you going to open up that non-public book to public?
Well, it is a one-time expense. So that's why I would think that, making, not adding it to the operating budget, which looks like it's an operating expense.
Except we already have cameras. We're upgrading cameras.
Well,
So it's not a one-time thing. We're constantly changing cameras around in places.
No.
Riverfront Park?
We've added to, but.
We just updated all of
What we did was we went from an analog system to an IP system. So we went through basically what
Well, cameraing is not a new thing.
No, but that was over a number of years.
All right,
It was over a number of years, so-
let's move on.
I hear what you're saying.
But anyway, okay.
All right, we got some things.
Tim, do you have anything else for us for finance?
No, that's pretty much it. It's just massive end of year, all the activities for end of year. So.
Good work on the budget. I didn't get my 2 cents in last night when they said the selectmen put together a really good budget.
Really?
I really meant to say you.
Yeah,
put together-
Joyce and Tim?
Joyce put together a really good budget.
Well, and
Thank
the
you.
board had a lot to do with the police budget.
Yeah.
St. John, going through with the chief and myself, all those lines, and I did talk about, the amount of money that was saved through all that effort. And
Yeah.
so, there's been a lot of work done, and it was a very good meeting last night. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Am I next on the agenda? Yes, dear. We're late.
I'll be there. You can just text me. Yeah.
In the to be signed is payment request number 6 for the CDBG for Gaslight Village. There's also an intent to cut form.
There's 2 intent to cuts in there, isn't there?
There's 2 veterans tax credits that need to be signed, but I believe there's only 1 intent to cut.
Is there?
Yes, the co-op membership appointments need to be renewed, so that's also in your to be signed. And downstairs, I don't know if you have a chance in your selectmen's tray, the town certified record of the Tilton Planning Board that was sent to Belknap County Superior Court in the Meade versus Tilton case. It's like that thick, and I'm just very impressed with the excellent record keeping that our planning board and zoning board has been doing. Have you looked through it at all?
No, but I know the records. It is outstanding. So it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, please, that they are re-petitioning the zoning board.
Right.
Plus they're going to Superior Court simultaneously.
Yes.
Are they doing that because the court takes so long to react, or are they asking the
Wouldn't this
Is-
board
aren't they-
say we're gonna wait on
Right,
the zoning board if you're going back to them also?
Thank
Because if
you.
they decide it, then I'm free.
right.
I don't know why they're doing that, going back to the zoning board. They've already
They've already gone,
They've already gone, they were denied a hearing,
and now they're restating their case,
yes,
when they have made some other points.
but they're also going before Superior Court. And they've submitted a petition for a zoning amendment.
Yes, I saw that.
And this is for
The petition warrant article.
Auburn.
Autumn Drive.
Okay. I was just curious, it just seemed strange to me.
This is for people who don't want the,
The adult care
Okay.
facility in a rural residential.
Now where,
It's agricultural.
now where it's been approved, and if it survives court challenge, the amendment passes, they'd be grandfathered because they were approved prior to it.
Correct.
Okay, hopefully they know that.
I'm guessing they don't,
Right.
but I think they're doing it hoping that they'll win, and it won't happen again.
Well, I do know that other communities are looking at this to see what happens.
So, shame on us for not having a definition for it.
so them being grandfathered, is that a state law or is that something that we could decide?
No, state.
Well, it's
Be under your
yeah,
state
there-
zoning RSA's, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
There's nothing we can.
Nope.
No.
Unless they abandon it.
Okay, we finally received the final JTC geotechnical report on 61 Business Park Drive. So if you're amenable, I will go ahead and release the check. Check's going to expire in January, so, okay. And you saw the letter in there from DOT about the parking spaces on Main Street
Nope.
Nope.
Where is that?
in the FYI?
What?
What is it?
That's to be signed.
Did they not like this again?
Along Main Street in the vicinity of the Tilton House, a piece of the parking spaces were restriped after the Main Street paving project over the number of spaces for the Tilton House. Crosswalk has varied from 5 to 7. The current 7th space has created a conflict point at the Park Street intersection. This letter is a request to remove the 7th space. I have enclosed several Google Earth aerial views of the parking spaces from 2011 to 2017. Ideally, no more than 6 spaces should be on Main Street at this location. However, plow trucks or wind plow have difficulty with maneuver from Park Street onto Main Street. If there are vehicles queued at the traffic signal, the maneuver is even more difficult. Buses too. With the winter weather upon us, we request this space be removed as soon as possible. So Rollins, where's the Google files? The pictures.
Oh, that came in the mail, there was nothing with it.
There was nothing with it.
I have enclosed
Could we
several
contact
Google Earth
them?
aerial.
So I guess we'll believe those pictures must have been right.
Yeah, could you,
make a note that there were no enclosures?
yeah, could you contact them and we'll look at it next week?
I think, didn't we did sneak
Or
an
is-
additional one. So they just caught
Enclosed,
us.
Google Earth aerial view.
Click on the link, Catherine.
Do you-
Well, that's what I was looking for, but
Did
it's,
he email it to us too, or no?
No.
no. Oops.
I can always look it up in Google.
Tell them we'll look at it next week, but please ask them to send those as soon as possible.
That'd be great.
Gail, you'll do that?
Yes, I will. I don't think so, because we used the sidewalk map, well,
Because we
No.
because of the space.
Yeah, the original proposal that they gave us had eliminated those.
no, I'm
And-
talking about the picture we had before they did the repaving. We had a picture of what was existing there. That's what we gave to Brock to paint.
I think we added one.
Didn't we
No,
really?
no,
Yes,
we,
we did.
yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
Snuck an extra one in and they.
Because when the guy came to measure, he said we could get one more, what do you think?
Oh, I guess I missed that conversation. I know we painted the crosswalk in, but we told them we were
I said,
going
why
to.
not?
Okay. Oh well. We'll reconsider it next week when John's here. This meeting's getting longer and longer.
It's going to be
Next week.
abbreviated too, so.
This one is?
No, next week.
This is gonna end up being your abbreviated one.
Well, we may have to move downstairs.
We should start downstairs and not be interrupted.
Next week.
Very good idea, I was just gonna
Yep.
go there. So,
Start downstairs next
everybody
week.
start downstairs tomorrow? I mean, next week?
Cozy.
Not tomorrow.
As far as warrant articles, the only thing I was able to work on this week, well, two things actually. I had a good conversation with Lauren about the solar exemptions. Now, no one has petitioned for these, to have the solar exemption. They have been, in doing their pickups, they have been noting on the cards who has solar panels and who doesn't. And they will be assessed as of April 1st of 2018. I mean, she has said, she knows that you guys are the assessors, it's your decision, all she can do is give you her recommendation. She feels that the solar exemptions, like things have changed in the past 35 years when they were first popular. And now with the technology that they have, it's no longer people were using, battery storage for their power, so that they were going off the grid. Now, any excess electricity that their panels produce are put directly into the grid,
Being bought back.
being bought back. The only thing that makes it really cost effective for a homeowner to purchase these systems is that they can get a federal tax incentive for it. So when they assess them like they do everything. They use the cost approach, less depreciation. She said that based on the data they've collected statewide, because they do a number of municipalities in the state, that they on average, the cost of one panel is about $1,000 per panel, and a typical house would use 24 panels. They factor, so a new house, brand new solar panels, the 24 panels, that would be assessed at $24,000. But they take into account that in order for them to get the return on investment, they have to usually get the federal tax credit. So they've knocked down that $1,000 a panel to $600 a panel. So for the average home, it would be an additional $14,400 in assessed value. So it's not based on their electrical costs. It's not based on them. They don't get a check. It just doesn't work that way. It's just based on cost less depreciation, and the fact that if you have two houses sitting next to each other and one has solar panels that are working and the other house doesn't, naturally the house that has the solar panels is going to sell faster and command a higher price because they know that they're going to have a lower heating bill, lower heating costs.
So we're penalizing people for using other than fossil fuels, which is better for our environment,
How are you penalizing?
because we're assessing the value of that solar system, which they put in to help the environment. And
No different
save
than
money.
if I add on a
She said
house, I pay for the added value of the house.
She said it's a philosophical decision. When you have to look at the dollars and cents, you're not saving the
You
environment.
got federal tax
Sure.
credit. When do I stop? I've already contributed with federal tax credits, Catherine.
Hey, the more you encourage someone to use other than fossil fuels, the better for all.
Let the market do it. Why do I have to subsidize it?
Right, from on a tax, on a
So why
assessed
do we
basis.
subsidize the elderly, the veterans, the disabled?
So they
Well,
can
what
stay
you
living in their
give them
homes.
is not a whole lot, and most of them are on fixed incomes at that point.
Somebody who has solar might not be on fixed income?
I would say well over 90%, probably not.
That are not on fixed incomes?
With solars, they're not on fixed.
Sure they are. A lot of companies come in and front the cost.
Yeah.
Well, if the solar, even if it's a lease because it's attached to your home, it is
Right.
assessed.
But we don't
It
need
will be
to,
assessed. Well, anyway,
we
she
don't need to go into that tonight.
said that the way to look at it is if you had an extra $14,000 that you were going to invest in your home, you might put in a new kitchen, you might have your driveway paved, you might put in a deck, you might put in a swimming pool, a set of solar panels. All that adds value to the house and gets assessed.
So can I put up a windmill? Good, better for the environment.
Sure. She
Are we
said
doing
it's
anything with
just,
geothermal?
Hasn't been impressive, but
All right, let's
Okay.
move on. The rest.
okay,
Peters.
well, it doesn't need to be discussed tonight.
okay.
We'll save
That's
that,
New Hampshire Solar Garden, we're subsidizing people for,
we'll discuss that later.
Okay. The other thing is I spoke to Cammie at Charlie McIntyre's office at New Hampshire Lottery, excuse me, and she's going to arrange to have somebody come up either on the 4th or the 11th of January. And she also would like to notify our surrounding communities, because Northfield has one place that might be eligible. And then I had mentioned, well, Zamberton has Steel Hill Inn, so they might be interested in.
So do you,
Belmont, Franklin?
so should we,
Franklin
are
already
we,
has it.
Oh, that's right.
are we gonna ask the business owners that are, maybe have that kind of establishment to come and listen, or no? This is for
I think it's
our
for-
taxpayers.
This is for us.
For
This is what
taxpayers.
we wanna know, whether we wanna put it on the warrant or not, that's what I
Or
asked
if
her.
citizens watching your video, they
Right.
can put it, they can
They can
petition
put
for
a
it.
petition and put it on the warrant, I get it. That's what I really wanna hear the information, because I'm hearing different things about it. There's really a lot of loopholes to get the money out of the education portion of it.
Okay, we talked about town hall
We sure
meeting.
did use the heck out of what they get from the lottery we have now.
Okay, I don't know what I did with it. I meant to bring this up last week, and thank goodness a woman called me again and said, what'd they decide? I'll bring it up this week. You know the little parcel that we took by tax deed, Phyllis Taylor? I can make a copy
I
of
don't
it
remember
now.
specifically. Anybody?
Oh, here it is.
I saw it in your desk, but I don't.
It's this little parcel right there. And I
Oh,
had
on
to,
Winter Street?
yeah, I had to tape two tax to tell, so I could figure out who the abutters were.
Where are you?
Off of Winter Street
Okay, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4 parcels circled.
Circle, because they all abut the parcel.
Oh, the little yellow one, 81.
Yeah.
Is it 81 or
And
31?
so what's the issue?
She wants to buy it,
Who wants to buy it?
It's the little tiny
and a
one.
butter,
Which,
a relation to Stanton Noise.
okay, so the other one,
It's in your notes, right? I didn't read it in your notes. Right there. Yep.
I mean, I have no idea what the value would be, and I just think that we can only sell by
yeah.
What's the,
auction,
just a
or
second.
as justice may require, and as justice may require would
It's
probably
landlocked.
mean
There's
go
only
to the abutters.
4 people should just,
I was just want to see what the value was on there.
And, I mean, we've done no deed research on it, it's as is, where is. They're taking all the risk, it would be a quick claim.
yeah,
What are the taxes on it?
right here, how about you? That little yellow.
I don't know, we can look on,
Sorry.
I don't know if we made that one exempt or not.
If we have time, we can address it next week when John is here. or
Yes.
do we
I
wanna
don't know
Go
what
forward
taxes are
with-
owed.
Yeah,
Let's find out. Everybody have questions about this property?
I did reach out to her family and the
I remember
daughter,
it as a select.
but I never heard back from them,
No.
so.
Value, what's owed on it, blah, blah, blah.
Everything.
You can't do anything with it by itself, correct?
No.
There's no
Landlocked,
right of way to
no.
it.
We don't know anything about it. We don't even know how it came into being.
That's very interesting too.
It might have been left out from deed conveyances for all we know.
Oh, you should be down here somewhere.
I don't know if you want to do this in non-public or not. Did you have a chance to read Brock's weekly report? He had 3 people, but one of them, one candidate still hasn't submitted his application, but we received 2, and he rated them, and he wrote an explanation. And he's very anxious to hire someone as soon as possible.
So, this is, okay, so this is,
Because this goes through here.
He would have been here this evening, but his eyes were literally,
And then there's a little tiny piece of Buffalo Park. This abuts Buffalo Park though, doesn't it?
Nope,
Is it abut Hussman's piece?
yes, it does.
this fellow doesn't even have a CDL. He has an automatic endorsement.
No, he has a CDL with an automatic endorsement because when he went for the test, they didn't have a standard.
I saw that.
Is that an application?
Okay.
Yeah.
This, oh, no, oh, just, okay.
I guess this one doesn't have one at all. But we already have one of these guys. This is the Subscription Brothers letter.
So he rated which one he would like, and he would like to know the board to decide on what the top dollar amount that can be paid.
2 come with CDLs. Oh, is that the, may I see this one?
Of course, your question would be, you already got your CDL trucks filled. If you put John in the Peterbilt, Lee in the International, then you're only down to DOT fiscal cards. The 550s are too light. Has the new one come in yet? Do we know?
As far as I know, it has not.
Guess we didn't plan that one. We're down there. Same with the Winter Street thing, I haven't
There,
seen that either.
there's that, has the cover.
Apparently not.
I like the one that hasn't put in the application yet. We don't have any trucks that are out there, do we?
No, he just has to go in and take a test with one that's manual, I believe.
Has
When's-
the person that we have already done that yet?
I don't know.
I know, believe that.
But
That's, the hourly wage, we set lower than that.
Right, but you have to understand that everybody's looking for CDL drivers right now.
This is a CDLA though.
I know, but this wage is much higher than what we said we would pay.
What was our maximum that we said we would pay? 19?
I don't recall.
It was low for CDL.
I think this one should be considered.
That's what I'm saying, the automatic endorsement doesn't help us, so,
But why not? If
because
he
we
can
don't.
go in and get the test and be certified,
Has
you're
the
all set.
one that we already have that needs to go in and get the test done that?
Well,
No.
your next question is, why do you need one ASAP? We have 2 CDL trucks. John Bilodeau, Lee Gray have their CDLs. You can manage that until one of the others with an automatic endorsement gets certified and flip it over.
So you have a 2
Remember,
or
you're
3
going
day
for a
storm.
6-person.
So this
If you have a 2 or
that
3
one-
day storm, you don't have anybody to rotate in.
That one has no experience with DPW. This one has 4 years' experience with DPW.
That's the Tilton one, right?
No.
No?
I still like the kid. If you're gonna start with,
Well, I think what he would like, if you let him know what your top dollar is, and then let him hire who
I
he
think we
thinks
should
would work
interview-
the best.
I think we should interview both of them. That's my personal opinion. I think we should interview both of them.
oh my God, that's gonna take a
Come on,
while.
let's let him pick it.
Sorry, I don't. This has 4 years' experience
I mean,
with
you
a
let the police
CDLA.
chief-
4 years still currently working in a
Yes.
DPW,
What, I don't know the
Don't
difference.
you remember with the dispatchers?
Department of Public Works.
No, what's
But he's still
CDLA?
CDLA is the highest one I can get.
That's your tractor trailer.
That's your
right?
tractor
I
trailer.
know what you mean.
The
That's
B
your
is
heavy
your,
one.
Might as well have.
B would be,
The air brakes all bit.
I don't know either of these
Air fuel,
people, but he knows who's gonna fit in with the crew, and
He said they all would,
Yeah, he does say
he did
that.
say that?
Yeah, he said they both.
yeah.
So why can't he make the decision?
I believe any of the applicants would make a great fit for the
George,
team.
do you want me to
oh,
read
'cause
this
he's
email?
working at the high school.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he just sent an
Right now,
email.
he's working in the,
He sent an email around 5:30. He'd like the board to let me make the decision on who to hire. I would like the board to decide on a top dollar amount that can be paid, and let me do my job and hire who I see would be the best fit for my crew. After all, I'm the one who will be dealing with them on a day-to-day basis. I would have been there myself to discuss this matter tonight, but we've been working so much lately that he needs some time to do shopping, and before the storms that are coming all weekend. And I do have one more candidate, but was held up this morning and couldn't get here in time, but he is still consideration.
Is he like, was that just now? Can we just text him a question, or was
That was 5:32.
Yeah, he'll answer if you do.
Yeah, he'll answer you.
Can we just ask why number 1 and number 2? What made him choose number 1?
Because he fits in right here.
Because of the dollar amount.
Okay.
Just doesn't fit.
Number 2 exceeds, I believe, the dollar amount we set for that position. I think it does.
But look at his current wage.
Hey, I'd go for it, because I know what CDLA drivers are making, and that's still cheap money.
Look at what the current wage is right now that he's making.
That's not much more
Nope.
than he wants here.
That's correct.
I would entertain a motion to allow Brock to choose from the 3 applicants he has.
I can't second that because I'm emphatically no about that.
second,
I said I'd entertain a motion.
So you have to make a motion.
That was to get people talking about the entertainment.
well, you entertained me, so I seconded it.
All right, consider it a motion. Discussion, please. Everybody understand the motion on the table? Allow Brock to hire amongst those 3 candidates.
We don't
Well, you
allow
talked
any
about-
other department head to.
I think he told us, and I think I'd like to,
We told him to get the top 2 and we'd interview.
yeah. Well, I don't know about interviewing, I don't want to interview, but
The
I guess
lateness of the season is what's
what I'd
prompted me
like
to
to
make
just say
that.
is I agree with him on the candidate. But what's the top dollar? I mean, Brock needs to have, or set up, he needs to do some research and have a range of what he's gonna pay people. He's gonna look at what he's already paying the current employees. So I need that information before I say what top dollar is.
I still think the Board of Selectmen has to have some say over who gets hired and who does not get hired for our departments. We do that for the PD, and we do that for Public Works, and we do that here. Why are we making an exception for Public Works?
Well, come on, the PD came in here with their candidates.
They always
The
come in
top
for their
candidates,
candidate.
after they've done extensive orals and weeded out 20 or 30 of them.
Yeah, except that wasn't the case with the most recent hire. They only had, what, those 2?
No, they had 8.
I believe Brock came in with suggested wages for these based on the industry standard, and we held them to a lower limit, I believe. Do we know what we set for wage for that position? No.
That's what I mean, there should be a pay range based on years of experience.
Right, but I think that,
And also the market right now.
I think
But you're not paying the
Well-
other one. You're not paying the other, you can't go over
Well-
what you're paying the other one.
You've got to be careful. CDLA doesn't mean I've driven a plow with a wing.
Nope.
That's totally different.
So do you have,
Well, I think
I wouldn't know because nothing's making it my
one
way
of them,
tonight.
one of them has
Stop
stopped
there.
plowing. I think both of them have really, but
Be assertive, please, ask me, because I'm in my own world.
I'm just
right now.
being patient.
You have one person that has, almost 5 years' experience in the DPW, currently working in the DPW, and then you have somebody that has no experience. We know what it's been like in our department, hiring people with no experience and then training them. We
But
train
all-
them and then they move on.
I don't see that the other 2 don't have any experience. They may not have worked for DPWs. Well, one of them, the application's not there, according to the letter, has very extensive construction experience, working with all types of heavy equipment. And that gives them a broader range of experience than just working for DPW. A much broader range, much more
It
versatile.
doesn't say that, it says GNC
So,
cleaning, and then
So-
I was watching Lee's
this one,
one,
the one you
loader.
said no experience, the automatic endorsement, New Hampshire Department of Transportation in Franklin, 2011 to 2014.
Yeah.
CDLB heavy mechanic driver.
Is that supposed to be in
All three of them have
So
extensive.
it's, he's got
I'm
the,
sorry, Joyce.
So what's your, so
Can I see that?
I guess he wants to know what your upper limit is that you would allow him to.
That depends on who is hired, and
See, that's the
I need to
problem.
know what other people are making.
Are we gonna hire, I don't, no, I'm not gonna say this in public. This is ridiculous.
So,
I'm chatting with Tim, who's gonna text Brock at the moment.
if we have this on to next week,
No, let's not add this
No.
on. Let's-
well, we're gonna go down, we're gonna start downstairs, so it's gonna
Employment
matter when planning board
history.
meets.
I'm looking at employment history
mhm,
to present,
mhm.
online tutoring.
He's going to college right now, so while he's going to college, he's at least working.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion on the table, and let's take it up next week when John's here.
And
Can
you
we
wanna
ask
know
that-
what the range is?
Ashley, you have
I can
very get that, no
specific
problem. questions.
We'll find out in a few minutes, I'm chatting with Tim.
Ashley
who's
has very
texting Brock.
specific requests. Go ahead, Ashley.
Can we ask Brock to please bring, if, I can't give him an answer until he brings to us a recommended wage range for
We
years of
voted on
experience,
a
types of
recommended.
experience.
In the motion to hire, there was a motion with a wage range.
All right, let me go back and see if I can find it.
I agree with Ashley, though. I would like to see a recommended range based on the industry standard from Brock. I know what it is in the construction world, but I don't know what it is for DPW, and I suppose we could get that from the wage report.
I can just
And
put out a
some-
query to all the, municipal managers, and they can
Wage.
tell me.
Yeah, comparable wages, and that would really help me make a decision.
Was there something else you wanted?
Well, the other thing, you've got John Bilodeau, who's been here coming up on what, 18 years, and he's not a whole lot higher than what the top one's asking, so.
Well, I've asked Brock several times now to please bring comparable wages and come up with, is it appropriate to do a market adjustment? Because if it is, I would do it. I would be for it. But he's got to,
But then again, if you go back to this number one choice,
You
and
just
hire
you're
him for
stuck
more
with an
money than we
automatic
have already a
endorsement.
laborer.
You're stuck with an automatic endorsement.
Well, and you're gonna hire him for more money than we hired him.
Catherine,
Recently, the other one,
It-
that we're still
Ca-
holding an increase on.
what is your hang-up with the automatic endorsement? We have 2 trucks. You've got
Because
2
of-
others right now. You put him in it, you give him a few weeks to drive it, take the test, and he's done. He's now certified.
Then why do we still have one with an automatic endorsement that's worked for us for months?
And he hasn't got the increase.
And if we don't have people to road,
They've been holding it.
when you have a nor'easter blizzard that goes on for 2-3 days,
Well, then-
you really need somebody to rotate through.
So then why isn't the director being asked, how come he hasn't got it yet? What have you done to get him so that
That's
he
a
can
good
get it?
question. Let's ask
It's a
about
very
it
good
next
question.
week. Gail,
Because he's the
what do
one
you
that's
have
holding it up.
information?
So we can't hire
I do
somebody
have some
that's for
information.
that.
Gail has some
We've had the
information.
ad in the paper since October, and we have only had one applicant. Recently, we've had these new ones, which he's now just bringing forward to you.
That's 'cause of
Tim
the pay.
texted Brock, okay? He wants the board to approve no higher than 21 as a cap, and that he'll try to negotiate lower. I want them to give me a dollar number as a cap, and let me negotiate the wage cap being 21. If I can get one for less, I will.
It's-
But I don't want to
And
lose
it's gonna be
another
this number
employee
one
because
choice,
of
and we've got
livable
another
wage.
kid that's
Ask him to
$300
finish.
lower than
I'm
that.
sorry, I didn't finish. He doesn't want to lose another employee because of a livable wage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the wage and the employee are 2 different things. I could say, this guy's number 1, this guy's number 2, this guy's number 3. We tell number 1 what we're gonna pay him, whether or not, everybody puts what they want on their application, and then you're you know, it's up for discussion. And then if that doesn't work out, we go to number 2. Just because he says that's what he's looking for doesn't mean that's what he's gonna take. And if you look at what he's been making, it's not close to that, so.
Well, the other factors too are, number one, job security. We don't know what his job security is. And secondly, benefits. We don't know. Benefits are part of our compensation package.
So there's two things to decide, the employee and then what we would pay him, not if we choose this guy, we have to pay him this amount. And I can't, well, I don't know if we should say this to him now or, yeah, because he should probably know by next week. I can't give a top dollar amount. I wanna see ranges based on experience, and then I can agree with him or disagree with him on what he thinks he should be being paid. Because he's got other people that have been there, like Peter said, for a while, that are making a certain amount of money, so he has to factor that all in and make a recommendation, I would say.
Isn't that what he's saying, right? Isn't that what he's saying?
No, I'm
No,
hearing he
he's-
wants a top dollar amount.
He wants our cap, and then he's gonna negotiate the wages. But we have employees in the same situation that are down here somewhere that he's holding back. That has the exact certifications as
Did I?
the number one.
Sorry, I did it again.
No, it's fine.
All right, so, next week, you know what we need everybody wants for information. Hopefully John will be here.
What is our-
Brock should plan on being here.
What is our current, where is our
Can
current?
we, Gail, can we have the minutes that discusses the amount that we set for this position, please? For next week? And you're gonna contact local government?
Where are our employees' wages
I'm gonna leave this in the,
under our drive?
we'll look in your budget, and it should be, there's a tab, 2018 budget, and there'll be a tab that says wages.
I have 2017, is that good enough?
Don't they getting paid now?
Yeah, you can look
It
at that
wouldn't
one.
change until July.
No, this isn't good enough because it doesn't have that percentage. So 2018 I put in.
Do you want to read that on the camera?
Really?
Mhm.
Extra recycling collection for the holiday season. Due to the increased amount of recycling generated during the holiday season, all Tilton residents will have an extra collection of recycling. This means that during the weeks of December 25th and January 1st, recycling will be collected during your non-recycling week. You may place your recycling bin curbside on your scheduled day along with your trash both weeks, and it will be collected. Your alternating week collection, A red or B black, will resume the week of January 8th. Important recycling info. All cardboard must be flattened to its flattest form. I didn't know that.
I put papers in mine so they don't blow out.
So don't I. No larger than 2 foot by 2 foot. Really? Cardboard can be placed inside your bin or on top of your recycling within reason, with the lid either open or closed on top of the bundle. No plastic bags of any kind, styrofoam or wrapping paper. Really?
Wrapping paper can't be recycled?
Evidently not.
That's news to me.
Okay. All of these items must be disposed of in your trash, not placed in your recycling bin. If there are any questions, please call Pinard Waste Systems at 603-623-7933. That's very well written. Who wrote that? Do we have this posted on the website, just as this is?
It went out as an e-alert, and it's been sent to all the
Yeah, I already read
departments.
that.
Can we put it in the kiosk and
It's
Already
in the-
there.
already there.
It's
It's
everywhere
on the
because
bulletin
they-
all over the
boards.
place, all right?
16.
Yeah.
October 26th minutes reflect a motion made to allow the Public Works Director go forward and find candidates, interview for the full-time position of a truck driver laborer, and bring his selection to the board. There's no mention in this particular paragraph of wages. I'll go back and look at my notes and listen to the movie to see if
Okay.
there was a wage made.
Yeah, I didn't know what they wanted.
Well, you can check off if you want to keep those 2 people, and then we have the town clerk certify it, and
Have they been contacted to see, the top one, has he been contacted to see if he would remain?
oh, I'm sure he would, but I have not contacted
I'm
him, no.
absolutely delighted if he does,
Yeah.
because I'll tell you, the man is wealth
Yeah,
of
he-
information, and his knowledge of that is just
Institutional history.
outstanding. Do we want to keep these 2 as our representatives?
Does he attend the meeting?
Can't see.
He's the alternate.
I know, does he attend when Joe doesn't?
I don't know.
Joe's been to a These are all set.
Has he been attending TAC?
I don't believe he has.
Can we please ask him why not?
I think he's just been busy.
Now, just recent.
Joey, get that away from the mic.
Hmm?
Get that away from the mic.
The wrappers, yeah.
Oh, that must sound good.
Okay, I think 20 and a half or 21, 19 was budgeted, okay.
Can we make sure Peter gets the
19 is budgeted?
Yeah.
co-op information there
For-
when he comes back?
Tim said 19 was budgeted.
All right, notice that little.
Abby, you going to come to the party tomorrow?
Yes.
How did I lose your agenda page?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah. Did the person who wants to purchase that piece of landlocked property make an offer?
No. She wanted to know what she had to do to buy it, and she would merge it with their other property.
Um,
I can't.
Can you ask her to make an offer? Might make it easier. How's the PD study committee doing?
We didn't meet,
No, we're gonna meet on the 8th, and I sent you an email today to see when you're free to go.
send it back.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right, I'll go look.
I'm off next week.
Okay.
Did you send a letter out to notify that boarding house that they needed a dumpster? Can we get that done? ASAP, because that's,
Yeah, I haven't looked recently. Is it still bad? I sent another letter though today to someone.
Are you done with your things?
I'm just kind of stalling, waiting for Peter.
Can we come, oh, because you're wanting to bring that.
Did you try the whoopie pie?
Almost.
I'm
I was
eating
waiting for you to make
myself.
the motion.
I'm putting in 2 pounds of my 63. I've already
Oh,
lost track
Peter,
on.
there's a letter between Ashley and Pat. And the question is, are you comfortable with keeping the representative and the alternate?
Is the representative still willing?
Yes.
I don't care.
I thought they weren't going, you said.
No.
That's the tax.
Well,
Oh,
This is the co-op board, the incinerator, wheelbrader.
Yeah, I have a JOB, so that, I'd only make a few meetings in the summer, maybe like 2 meetings, so it's,
I'm fine with it.
I don't,
is there any action on our part?
just
Yes,
sign it.
just, can we have a motion in, so in the
Make a
minutes?
motion that the chair signs.
Well, the chair doesn't sign, but
Third, fourth.
What?
The motion is to, are you reappointing them?
reappointing them.
So their year ends December 31st?
And you sure you checked with?
No, but I'm sure he will.
Okay, so the motion is to reappoint Joseph Jessamine as a representative of the Concord Regional Solid Waste and Resource Recovery Cooperative with Brock Mitchell as the alternate. Is that the motion?
Aye.
Gotta have a second.
Second.
Aye.
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 And then if you just give me a copy of that
Catherine
motion
made the motion.
Oh, Catherine made motion?
on
You
letterhead.
just read it,
Thank you,
and I seconded it.
thank you.
And I said aye.
And then Cindy will certify this.
Please verify that Joe is
I
willing
will.
to serve. That's excellent that he does. Anything else for us, Joyce?
Nope.
All right, thank you. Selectmen's reports? Peter? Ashley? Pat?
I have two, but they need to be in non-public,
Okay,
their personnel.
I have none. Motion to go into non-public, Mr. 91A. I never remember the section for employees.
3, personnel.
3, personnel.
Yeah.
Second, Fogg, yes.
Dawson, yes.
We are
Yes.
red is on, time 7:20.
Motion to seal the minutes of non-public session as pertains to employee permanently.
Second,
Roll call
Fogg,
vote.
yes.
Constantino, yes.
Dawson, yes. Anything else to come
Go ahead,
before us in
Pat.
public session?
Yes. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I would like to wish all of our employees and staff a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you. And see you tomorrow at our luncheon.
Anything else?
Peter?
That's it?
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Vote with your feet.
Yeah, for John. I mean, for Joe, sorry.